This is Natalie, and we are doing the craft of the month for February at E.C. Scranton Library in Madison. So we're doing a heart wall hanging out of various sticks this month and branches, and we're going to start with a piece of paper. This is just plain printer paper, 8.5 by 11. I'm going to put it down. I'll lower the camera so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to fold the paper in half. And I'm going to just draw a basic half heart. Like that. Everyone has done this, I'm sure, a whole bunch of times, starting probably when you were a little kid. I'm going to cut this out. This is going to be our template. Discard the scrap. And here we go. Now, this is approximately, I have another one here that I already did. 9 inches wide, as you can see. This one's a little smaller than just to cut would be about 8 inches. So about 8 or 9 inches wide. That's just an approximate is what you want. Now, if you want, you can just use this as your template, or you can take a piece of cardboard and lay it flat, trace it on, take a Sharpie and trace around. You can tell I already did that with the first one that I made. And I started to cut it and then realized I didn't really need to cut it. So here's my heart. Doesn't matter if you use the cardboard or the paper one. Either or, we're just going to be laying the sticks out onto that to give us an idea. So you can come into the library and come upstairs to the Creative Loft, which is where I'm recording this right now, and get some sticks. We've been collecting, so we have piles of them. Or you can collect some of your own. These are just branches, twigs, not very big, from the yard. I'm trying to label them and keep them neat for when people come in. Hopefully they stay neat. A pile labeled of ones that are a little bigger and thicker, like this one. And these are good to have the heart hang from on the top. And then there will be some smaller, thinner ones that you can use that we're going to have hanging down into the heart shape. So this is my big hanger one. And this is approximately 14 inches. It's a little bit, about 2 inches longer than the 12-inch ruler. So like I said, this is going to be up top, and the branches are going to hang down in a heart shape. Right now I'm showing you with the paper heart, but eventually that will be the branches, the little twigs hanging down. So take your large stick and just put it aside so that you remember to reserve it. Now, we're going to take a handful of smaller ones and we're going to fit them in. I'm starting with the thickest, biggest one. You can put it in the center and adjust the camera. Like I said, you can use the white paper template or the cardboard. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to take some shorter, smaller ones to put them on the outside edge where the curve of the heart is smaller. I'm just going to lay them down. Get some other shorter ones over here. On this side, I'm just using the white template heart Don't let this one throw you off. Now, it might take you a little bit longer to pick out which branches and twigs you want. I kind of already pre-selected mine and have this pile right here ready. You might want to just rearrange, fiddle around, say, okay, this one's a little shorter. I'm gonna put it over here, longer ones. Eventually we want to line up, we'll have to line up kind of near the top where we're going to be tying them. It's okay if they hang down a little longer. This is where we can trim them. And as you can tell, I did not cover the entire heart. It is just approximate. You don't need every inch covered. If you have thicker branches, you'll have less. If they're skinnier and smaller, you'll have more. So if you have a pair of pliers, then you can go and trim the edges here so that we make this look more like a heart. I actually forgot my pliers. So, and if you don't have any, you could probably use a pair of strong scissors instead. Since I have an extra heart, I'm going to lay it on top. You don't have to do this. Just to help me see the curve of where I want to trim these on the bottom so that they have the curve of the heart shape. And this is where you could use your pliers or even break it off like I did there. I'm going to hope the scissors work a little bit here. And if not, just break it. We'll just take a minute and get them all to the size that we want. Okay, so you can see that I have trimmed, and it's not a perfect heart, but it's a rough one. I've laid them all out. They're pretty much even up top here to the shape that I want for my heart, and I trimmed a little bit along the bottom there. So now I am getting ready to paint. And we're only going to paint the bottom half of the heart. We're going to leave about the top 2 inches or so unpainted. So to get ready to paint, I'm going to take a paper plate or a foam plate and pour out my paint colors and mix some so that I can have varying shades or ombre colors that sort of blend into each other. Okay, on my paper plate, I have squeezed out a small amount of white paint. Actually, it looks a little more off-white. You can do this any color if you want to just do shades of pink, red for Valentine's Day, or any color to match your room decor. I have this, it's like a seafoam light greenish. I'm going to mix a little bit of paint. I'm just going to blend the colors. I want them to be coordinating, but not all the exact same shade. And I'm probably going to need a little more paint than this, I think, too. It's like a light seafoam green is what I'm doing. But like I said, you can do whatever shade you want. I'm going to add just a little bit more and blend that. And over here, I'm going to do one that's going to be a lot lighter. So again, this is just playing around and seeing what colors and shades that you like, adding various amounts of white to your color paint. so that you get that ombre effect. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute. I'll be back in a minute after I have all my paint colors ready. Okay, now that I have my paint mixed, and you can see my different shades, I'm going to start painting my sticks. I'm going to try to leave them laid out like this so that I don't have to redo the order and figure it out all again. So I'm starting at the bottom of the hearts, and just like the picture, I'm going to paint darker along the bottoms, and then go a little lighter, and then a little lighter, and then the white. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 shades, and I'm going to blend them, and then leaving the top completely natural stick color. So I'm going to take my darkest color, which is the green, right out of the tube without anything mixed in. And I'm going to start over here, go left to right, just because it's easier. I'm going to start painting the stick. As you can see, I'm going to lay it down, it's a little easier. You don't need a real lot on the tips, but you do want to paint all the way around. When you hang on the wall, might shift a little bit. So you don't want to have just one side painted and the other just natural sticks. So you want to paint all the way around. And I'm going to lay it back down. And as you can see, I only did a tiny little tip. This is a shorter stick. So I did about an inch or a little less maybe. I'm laying it back on my cardboard or heart so that I can keep the shape. Also, this makes it so that you don't get your table messy. If you have the cardboard, you can see a little bit of paint got on. So it's nice to have the cardboard surface, or if you don't, you can get like newspaper just to cover it. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the bottom 1 inch of each of my sticks with my darkest color. And then I'll show you the next step. Okay, I'm back. I finished painting them all. You can tell I messed up a little bit here and smeared the paint a little further up. That's okay, we're gonna go over it. You can see all of my nice little dark tips. Now I'm going to go to the second darkest color and do the same thing. I'm going to start from left to right. I'm just going to paint about an inch up, blending it around as I go. And I'm going to do that with all of them. I'm going to pause in the video and paint them all, and you can paint yours too. Okay, now you can sort of see that I have 2 shades of green. The darker, the lighter. It's not all perfect. The nice thing about ombre is you kind of blend it so you don't have to go to a certain spot. You just kind of go up a little and blend it a little bit down into the previous color. And so I'm going to do a shade still lighter all the way across. And then after that, we're going to let it dry overnight preferably. And after that, if you think that you want a second coat, if you want your paint thicker, you could always do that too if you still have some paints. All right, so I'm going to take the next lightest shade and start painting another inch or a little less across the top there.